What I wanted to talk about today was, last week we did just a sort of introduction to drawing landscapes. And today I wanted to get a little bit more certain aspects of doing landscapes. So the drawing that we're going to work from is one of the ones that we did a thumbnail sketch of last week. This has some interesting aspects to it. There is a figure in it, and there's some more little figures right here. We can clearly see a horizon line, and we've got a couple little trees. And then the other thing is this perspective of how this pathway drops in through here. And I see a cat coming. What do I want to say? Using the grid can really help us see how these particular aspects of this really work. And so if I put my grid, I marked around the outside of this edge, but let me just go ahead and put it into my grid sheet here so that we can clearly see this. So the first thing that we're wanting to do is to identify where the horizon line is going to be in the picture. And scoot, 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 there it is. Okay, now we can see with our grid that the horizon line is just below that top quarter. So I'm going to want to identify where that horizon line is going to be first. And we know that it's going to go parallel to that line because if you got a horizon on water, it's always parallel to the edge of the page, unless it's a waterfall. And so if it does go on a weird angle down, it's going to be a waterfall the whole way. And then downward about to there. That's going to be our horizon line. Now, interesting things about horizon line is that, if the path were to continue all the way out, it would go to the horizon line, but it stops before that, so it's dropping below that. But the other thing is that where I'm looking at, I'm a little bit shorter than this gentleman. It's actually my husband. My eye line is about to his shoulders. And if we look at this and go through here, if I run a line through the horizon line, you will see that it actually comes about where my eyes are on his shoulder. So my viewpoint eventually goes out to this horizon line. And I know then that I've got to place him in here, if he's going to be correct, where his shoulders are about parallel to that horizon line. So and his head is a little bit below. His head is a little bit below this. If the horizon line were to come all the way through here, his shoulders are going to come through that horizon line. And then his feet are up about a quarter from the bottom of this. So that's about where his feet are. The other thing on figures is to look and see where the weight of the figure is going. And if I were to run a line through here, this leg, that's the weight. This leg is lifted up and it's moving, and then his arms hang off it. So you think of it as a structure of his shoulders, his backbone, and his leg, and that comes in just a little bit of an angle. So that's his backbone down into his leg, and then his other leg comes back and crosses over this with a foot. And you end up with the waist is a little tiny bit smaller than the shoulders, so that can come in. He has one arm swinging back, the other arm swinging forward, and then his head is in here. I think, no, that's about where it's supposed to be. The other thing to always look at on a person is to compare the size of the head to the rest of the body. And so that head, one, two, three, four, five, yeah, that's about right. 5 heads should make up body and legs, approximately, depending on who the person is, but that's an approximate thing. Okay, and his jacket is down here just a little bit lower. His legs are going to come in. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little bit better. So that's where he is. So that pathway comes right to the edge of him there. It comes out at about a third here, and it's a little bit higher. So let's see. and then it dies off into there. That is horizon. No, this is my horizon line. So let's just mark that as H so we don't get confused. So that hill actually, it goes up and almost to his shoulder if you really in here, and then it eases off and comes through here. So that's what it's doing. Okay. So I'm a figure placed. Now this has to come back and into this wraparound. This other side of this runs through here. And then it ends, so maybe surprising, maybe not. You will be surprised how wide and how big this has to be at the end. This comes out and it's actually even a little bit below this. And by the time it's underneath of him at the halfway point, we're at about, okay, that comes just about there. And then it's going to curve and go back into here. And that has to go up a little bit. So now I've got that pathway in there, and the tree is coming in. Oh, it's right on that line. I think I might actually have him over that way just a little tiny bit too far now that I'm seeing this. He needs to come back this way just a little bit. And that'll make this a little better too, because then it won't come out quite so far, because that seemed like it was coming out there a bit too far. That's his, he comes through there. Shoulders go through that horizon line, shoulders through the horizon line. And he's got a big floppy hat, so it comes out bigger like that. Arms moving. Okay, that's a little bit better. So those are some of the beginning pieces. I'm going to let you guys work out the rest of the pieces. This comes in maybe halfway here. Let's see, my crossover point is right there. So that beach is going to come out. And then if this is yeah, about halfway, a little slightly above halfway. Point's going to come out. This comes back in. And then the other side of this ice plant is way over in here. And this side of it is all inside of that. Going back into there. Another piece of the ice plant runs like that, and then this is the beach edge right here. And then my other figures, they're like little triangles here with arms and a little small head on it. And here's my other triangle. Someone's sitting here. I think there might be a third person in there, but for sure there's two. Basics. My trees don't go up beyond this line, and then the bridge is in this, let's see, that comes a third of the way. Okay, those are those little bit higher bushes. Trees coming up. And the pom-poms of the fronds, they're actually oval this way. And then some more trees come up into here. Basics in there. let you guys spend your time working on it. You're going to be able to get a lot more detail in than I am. But this is the thing to think about, is that this person, their head is in the region of the horizon, and because that person was taller than I am, their head is above the horizon. If they were shorter, their head would be below that horizon. People that are seated, we're seeing them from a different angle, so they're well below the horizon. And then wherever they end up, you know, with their feet, depends on how far away they are. If this figure was closer, look at this other photo that I have of a street scene. These figures are closer, but once again, her head is about equal with mine. And if you run this through here, her head and that horizon line are at about the same place. And then the heads of the people off in the distance are also on that horizon line. He's a little taller than me, so his head is above the horizon line. The kid is much shorter, so he's well below the horizon line. And then their feet are as low as they need to be to get them in the right place in the plane where they are. So these guys are pretty close. Their feet are quite a ways further down there. These guys are further away, but they all fit within the same plane of the perspective of the road going back. Okay, that's what we are going to be working with. I will give you this photograph to work from and time to work on it. So that's going to be your photograph. Good. And here, I'll just make one other picture, and that is the photograph and this together. I don't know if it's going to show.